Good evening and welcome to the National News Telecast on Channel I, and we're ready to bring you the top stories from home and around the world. I'm Natalia Veeravardhana.
Good evening, I'm Clifford Richards. First of all, we take a look at the headlines.
A rehearsal on holding the election with adherence to health and safety guidelines conducted today. A special discussion on the date of the election to be conducted tomorrow. A suspect wanted in connection with several crimes committed in Ratmalana and Moratua, killed in a shooting incident. Hidden equipment discovered at the Boosa prison. The Colombo bus priority lane effective from tomorrow as before. Payments for the depositors of their finance disbursed through the People's Bank branches.
Moving on to the stories in detail. A rehearsal with regard to the 2020 general election was organized under the guidance of the Elections Commission at Ambalangoda today. The health authorities have submitted to the Elections Commission a set of guidelines pertaining to the forthcoming general election in the wake of the global spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. A mock election was held adhering to health and safety guidelines at the Velagoda Dhamma Yuktikarama Vihare at Ambalangoda today. The rehearsal was organized in a similar manner in which a real election is held. Elections Commissioner General Saman Sri Ratnayaka said that at the rehearsal it was inquired into whether it will be possible to accommodate the process of voting within the regular duration from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. and depending on the results of this rehearsal, certain adjustments will have to be made. He assured that voters will be able to cast their ballots at their respective polling booths without any hesitation, adhering to all health and safety guidelines. A group of registered voters of the area was selected as a sample of participants for the rehearsal. Although it was a rehearsal, the participants were observed to be extremely enthusiastic. Chairman of the Elections Commission Mahinda Deshapriya also monitored the election rehearsal. All activities was organized under the full supervision of the health authorities. Public health inspectors were also deployed. After the rehearsal, which was conducted for a 2-hour period from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, a media briefing was held at the Elections Commission chairman at the venue. Chairman of the Elections Commission Mahinda Deshapriya said that this move is not an attempt to not hold the election but a pre-preparation adhering to a new method for the election to be held. He observed that within the 2-hour duration from 10 a.m. to 12 noon today, 239 votes were cast at the rehearsal. He noted that in his observation, there does not seem to be a serious issue. However, the prevailing situation cannot be normalized either. He noted that unlike this mock polling booth, certain polling booths are located in areas that are not very spacious, such as community halls and classrooms. Therefore, the manner in which voting can be facilitated at such setups needs to be inquired into. Commenting on the discussion to be held tomorrow, the chairman of the Elections Commission said that he is personally confident that a maximum possibility will prevail to decide on the election day at tomorrow's discussion.
Director General of Health Services Consultant Dr. Anil Jasingha says this year's election will bring about a revolutionary change in the electoral history of the country. Joining in the Sunday IB1 program telecast over Rupavahini this morning, Dr. Jasingha noted that this change is expected as the election will be held adhering to the health guidelines. Chairman of the Elections Commission Mahinda Deshapriya also joined in the discussion. Chairman of the Elections Commission Mahinda Deshapriya said that they are in receipt of health guidelines with regard to the holding of the general election. He further stated that in 2021, the Provincial Council's election will also have to be conducted under this situation. He noted that no room should be left for the COVID-19 epidemic to spread at the community level as a result of holding this election. On the same note, he stated that there should not be a notion that the Elections Commission is not holding an election for fear of the COVID-19 virus. He highlighted that democracy is expressed through the people's franchise, as in the absence of representatives being voted to Parliament, no legislation can be compiled. He noted that the highest risk prevails in holding political rallies, therefore political rallies will not be permitted at all. He added that the polling booths will be disinfected before the vote. Director General of Health Services Consultant
මාධ්‍යවේදීන් මේ ව්‍යවස්ථාදායකවලින් හදලා අපේ තිබිච්ච සීමිත ව්‍යවස්ථාදායකයෙන් අනුමත වෙලා ආපු දෙයක් තමයි මේ නිරෝධායන පනත. අවදානම් වැඩිම තැන තමයි දේශපාලන රැලි. පෙළපාලි කොහොමදත් අපි ඉඩ දෙන්නේ නැහැ නීතියන උත්තානම්. ඡන්ද පොළ ස්පිරිතාලයකට වැඩි විස බීජ හරණය කරලා අපි පාවිච්චි කරනවා කියලා කියන්න පුළුවන්.
මේ අපි හිතමු මෙතුමා
Director General of Health Services Consultant Dr. Anil Jasing has said that if we assume that the election day is set within a month or two, or if it is held even after a year, the current situation will still remain unchanged. He pointed out that in this scenario, the solution is not to postpone the election, but to put in place a framework and method to hold the election, given the situation remaining unchanged. The Director General of Health Services pointed out that as the people's sovereign right to vote is preserved, the election does not have to be converted into a carnival. Dr. Jasing also noted the possibility of holding pocket meetings whilst adhering to health guidelines and also encouraged the use of electronic mediums for campaigning. He added that thereby the forthcoming general election will be a new experience.
The number of fully recovered COVID-19 patients to have been discharged from hospitals currently stands at 941. 867 patients are undergoing further treatment at hospitals. 5 new confirmed cases were reported today, out of which 4 persons were returnees from Kuwait and 1 person was a returnee from Bangladesh. According to the report issued by the Epidemiology Unit at 10 a.m. today, the number of COVID-19 patients to have been discharged upon recovering fully within the past 24 hours is 50. Yesterday, 13 newly confirmed COVID-19 patients were detected, out of which 9 were Navy personnel, whilst 3 were returnees from Russia and 1 from Kuwait. Amongst the 1,819 COVID-19 patients reported in the country as of today, 892 are naval personnel and their close associates. This is a percentage of 40.03. 614 infected persons were detected from amongst returnees from overseas, which is a percentage of 33.75. The other patients to test positive, which are 313 cases and are a percentage of 17.20, were detected locally. 30 Navy personnel who underwent treatment at the Kathankudi Base Hospital after contracting the COVID-19 virus were discharged upon fully recovery yesterday. Our correspondent states that they were transported by a special bus to the Dirthalava Quarantine Centre. Another 12 naval personnel were discharged from the Iranavilla Hospital upon recovering fully. Steps were being taken to send them to quarantine facility. Total number of naval personnel recovered stands at 488. Meanwhile, Sri Lankan Airlines flight carrying 277 expatriate Sri Lankans who were stranded in England reached Katunayake Airport this morning. Biosamples were obtained from the returnees for PCR testing at the airport premises itself. The authorities have taken steps to accommodate them at 4 hotels in the vicinity of the airport until results are received. And for the purpose of rotating maritime staff deployed on a vessel, 86 sailors were flown to the island from Mumbai last night. Our correspondent states that they were subject to PCR testing upon arrival at the airport. Meanwhile, a report on the curfew situation. The curfew imposed island-wide with effect from yesterday until further notice will be in place on all days from 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. only. That's from 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. only.
Minister Mahinda Amaravira states that public transportation services in all districts, including the Colombo and the Gampaha districts, will resume adhering to the health and safety guidelines from tomorrow. All office trains and mail delivery trains will also be operational from tomorrow. Minister Mahinda Amaravira says that with effect from tomorrow, transportation services will become systematic. Thereby covering all provinces, buses will be operating including in the Colombo and Gampaha districts. He noted that all these actions are being taken adhering to health and safety guidelines. The minister pointed out that permission has been granted for a number of passengers, equivalent to the number of seats to be transported in buses. He further stated that the railway service will also be operational from tomorrow, adhering to health and safety guidelines. The minister requests the public to limit their travelling only to essential purposes, as the COVID-19 risk has still not ended. The Sri Lanka Transport Board also commented on this measure. Chairman of the Sri Lanka Transport Board, Kingsley Ranawaka, says that all CTB buses will run from tomorrow. He further stated that measures have been put in place to operate inter-provincial bus services from Colombo, while steps are also being taken to initiate an office transport bus service as well. He explained that this bus service would drop employees at their workplaces and will be deployed to transport them back after work. He also stated that currently the registration of tour buses and school service buses for public transportation purposes is underway. Thereby, he intends to deploy such buses in rush areas. Deputy General Manager of Railway Transportation DP Seniviratne says that steps have been taken to operate all office trains and mail delivery trains from tomorrow. Therefore, all passengers can avail train services from tomorrow, adhering to health and safety guidelines. He further stated that the objective is to operate train services to a maximum possible level. The police have taken steps to implement the bus priority lane rule in the Colombo district from tomorrow according to a new traffic plan prepared under the theme Alutin Patangamu Mahamaga Vinaya Athi Karamu. Let us begin anew and let us bring about road discipline. Motorists will be educated on this special plan until the 22nd of this month, after which the law will be strictly enforced.
Director General of Agriculture Dr. W.M.W. Veerukon says that the farmer communities in the yellow-spotted grasshopper infested areas should take necessary precautionary measures as instructed by the Department of Agriculture to avoid further growth of the insect population. Well, this type of yellow-spotted
grasshopper was first spotted in Mavatagama in Kurunagala and currently spreading in Kegol, Hambantota, Mathura and Kilinochi areas. This type of locust, which was first spotted in home gardens, have also begun to spread in cultivations of tea, coconut and rubber. Inspection tours were conducted in these affected areas by the Department of Agriculture, and special measures have been taken to control the further spread of the yellow-spotted grasshoppers in other parts of the country. Meanwhile, farmers have also been given instructions on divisional secretariat level.
I have to mention here is that a lot of people thought that these are desert locust which has come in, but it is not so. This particular locust is a grasshopper which was there in this country for a longer period of time, and due to some reason the population has gone up. What we advise the farmers is some or other make sure that the population should not go beyond the control limits. You have to resort to this mechanical as well as burning and other means. The last option is chemical. Of course, we don't advise that very much unless it is a threat to the cultivation. So far, these particular grasshopper populations have not attacked the normal crop cultivations, but we have observed is attacking the normal fields in the home gardens as well as which are very much closer to the undisturbed jungle. So why this particular grasshopper population is not there in the cultivated area is, I think what we have observed is this particular grasshopper needs undisturbed soil for egg laying and then pupation and then coming into these other stages. But the recommendation is of course to plow the land and kill those pupae, but that naturally happens in the cultivated areas, so that we think that because of that the population is not there in the cultivated agricultural areas. We have to some or other control that these nymphal stages before coming into the adult stage, because otherwise the adults can fly.
The Director General of the Department of Agriculture has requested farmer communities to contact the department via the official hotline 1920 for further incidents of yellow-spotted grasshoppers.
Now this particular grasshopper population, of course, we think that with time the population goes down, and as we have observed even in last year the sporadic increase, but not like this year. We think that it will get naturally controlled. If it is beyond the controllable limit, we use chemicals and we do spraying. We also like to request our farmers and also other people who are around who are doing agriculture, please inform us using our hotline 1920, and if there is any incidents, please inform us. We immediately come and do anything to be done to control this pest.
An invasion by desert locusts has hit large areas of India and Pakistan. Large and aggressive swarms of these crop-devouring short-horned insects have invaded more than 24 districts covering more than 50,000 hectares of desert areas of the western Indian region. Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat are the worst affected states. In neighboring Pakistan, authorities declared a nationwide emergency in February, citing locust numbers were the worst in more than 2 decades. The locust infestation in Africa, the Arabian Peninsula and South Asia is an outbreak of desert locusts, which has threatened the food supply across the region. The outbreak is the worst in 70 years in Kenya and the worst in 25 years in Ethiopia, Somalia, and India. The plague began in June 2019 and has continued through 2020. Dr. W.M.W. Weerakon said that although a risk persists of a desert locust threat, the department is in line with international and local agencies in this regard in order to avoid a potential spread in the country.
I have to categorically say that this is not the desert locust. Desert locust belongs to a different family, and this particular grasshopper belongs to a different family, and we should not worry about the desert locust at all. But there is a very remote chance we get the desert locust, which is right now available in the India-Pakistan border in the Rajasthan area. We are keeping in touch with the other officials of agencies. If there is any attack, we are now ready to overcome those problems if that is the case.
Chairman of People's Bank Sujiva Rajapaksa says payments were disbursed through People's Bank branches for around 3,000 depositors of the finance company today. Disbursements for the depositors will be remitted through People's Bank in the days ahead as well. People's Bank has taken steps to make payments up to a maximum of 600,000 rupees. The People's Bank branch at Kegol was kept open today for payments to be made to such depositors. Payments were also made at the Kadavidya branch of the bank at Gaul as well. Depositors of the Finanza Kandy branch were also paid through People's Bank this morning.
The police state that an investigation has been initiated into the piling up of garbage in the Mount Lavinia coast. Acting IGP CD Vikramaratna engaged in an inspection tour of the Mount Lavinia coast today. A few days ago, a large amount of garbage was seen piled up along the Mount Lavinia coast, and it was not possible to ascertain from where the garbage had arrived to the coast.
When you allow those garbage or plastic waste into the ocean, two things can happen. Maybe about 30% start floating and about 70% of this plastic sink to the bottom and stay on the bottom. Even if you dump it or even if you allow those plastic and solid waste to drain to the ocean through canals, those two things can be expected. 30%, the floating 30%, they force to the beach by waves, and the remaining 70% stay on the bottom. And when the rain starts and when the ocean currents change, and at the same time when the wind starts blowing, submerged plastic also start resucking and start settling on the beach. So that's the main reason for the observe a huge amount of plastic on the beach. But the source we have to identify, because the source still is unknown. Nobody knows whether those plastics came through even at Vellavata canal or somebody has dumped that purposely to those areas and those canals and then ultimately ended up in the water. We have to understand the real source. The real source is us, the general public. So I know the government and all the administration, from their side we have to do something. But at the same time, 80% of states still relying on the behavior of us, the general public. So if we act properly and if we act responsibly and if we act knowing the real consequences, then definitely we can stop it from our household level and our village level and then our municipality level and as a country level. Therefore, while government agencies are doing their job, I will request the general public, all of us get together and do what you can do today to reduce the home generated waste amount and reduce the individual waste generation. At the same time, recycle your recyclable waste at household level. If you do not do this, definitely our kids and our generation we are growing will experience really bad consequences. At the same time, the whole future of the country will be in big jeopardy.
The Ministry of Education states that Suraksha Students Insurance Policy, which is in place for the health and security benefit of school children, will be operational continuously. Thereby, those who have not submitted their applications to claim benefits so far need to submit their duly-filled applications to the respective zonal education office or the Ministry of Education. Further information can be obtained from the Health and Nutrition branch of the Education Ministry over telephone numbers 0112 784 163, 0112 784 872, 0113 641 555.
And moving into weather-related news, the Met Department forecasts that the showery condition experienced along the southwest stretch of the island will prevail in the next days ahead. The southwestern monsoonal conditions are gradually getting established over the island. Several spells of showers could occur in the western, northwestern, Sabragamu and central provinces, and also in the Galle and Mathura districts. Fairly heavy falls exceeding 50 millimeters of rain can be expected in these districts. Light showers could occur in the Anuradhapura, Vavunia, Mannar and Jaffna districts. Wind speeds could increase up to 40 to 50 kilometers per hour across the island, especially over the slopes of the central hills and in the northern and north central and also the northwestern provinces and in the Hambantota district. The Puttalam Disaster Management Unit reports the damages caused to a house by lightning in the Kottukachi area in Puttalam last evening. When it was struck by lightning, 5 individuals were in the house. However, no injuries were reported.
A suspect wanted in connection with various crimes, including murder committed in the Moratua and Ratmalana areas, has been killed in a police firing. The police headquarters states that when the police personnel attempted to arrest the suspect, he had opened fire at the police, who in turn retaliated. The suspect, upon sustaining injuries in the shooting, died after being hospitalized. Upon a tip-off received that a suspect connected to a number of crimes was in hiding at a house in Ballapana area in the Minuangada Police Division, the police launched an operation to nab the suspect this morning. The operation was launched by the police personnel of the Kelaniya Crimes Division and the Paliagoda Crimes Division. This suspect is reportedly one individual of the group that shot at a hotel at Soisapura Ratmalana and fled in the early hours of the morning on the 29th of last month. Police media spokesperson SSP Jalya Senaratna stated that this individual is also suspect in the case pertaining to the murder of Ranjan De Silva, the father of Sri Lankan cricketer Dhananjay De Silva, who was killed on the 25th of May in 2018. After sustaining injuries in the crossfire with the police, the suspect was admitted to the Divulapitiya hospital where he died. Issuing a statement, the police state that this individual, aged around 50, has been a temporary resident of the Ballapana area at Divulapitiya. It has also been revealed that this criminal had operated using many fake names. Meanwhile, in a special search conducted at the Bursa prison, several equipment, including a mobile phone, were discovered stealthily concealed in the ceiling of the cell of Kanjipani Imran. The police special task force carried out the search operation last evening and an unidentified narcotic substance was also discovered.
The Sri Lanka Mahaweli Authority emphasizes that there is no truth in the rumours alleging that a reserved land in the Madhudugama area that is under the authority has been given over to another organisation without following proper procedure. Director General of the Mahaweli Authority, Engineer Sunil Pereira, states that although a land area of 100 acres has been referred to, the actual extent of this land is 15 acres. Director General of the Sri Lanka Mahaweli Authority, Engineer Sunil Pereira, speaking at a media briefing held in Colombo today, clarified that the land in question had been given over through an approval in 2018. He pointed out that several reserves are located in close proximity to this land. They include the Kalaweba and Kahalapalla Forest Reserve, out of which the Kahalapalla Forest extends to an area of 24,000 hectares, which is around 60,000 acres. He noted that both these reserves are located at a distance of 5 to 6 kilometers from the land in question.
Social media is one of the common platforms to bring people together in the outer world. However, in modern context, people use the medium for notorious and illegal activities. And today, we met a group of people who had used social media in a positive and encouraging manner. A Facebook group which was created 2 weeks ago organized a blood donation campaign today at the National Blood Centre at Nara Hempita. The significance of this project was that most of the organizers were not previously known to each other, but many people around Colombo and suburbs attended this event, which was announced from this Facebook group. Some of them had travelled many miles to take part in this worthy cause. The director of the National Blood Centre, Dr. Lakshman Singh, said that this is the time the blood bank requires in-house donors. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, there was no such opportunity to organize outdoor blood donation camps. Even the essential requirement of blood for medical purposes was reduced due to the lesser activities of the general public. But some organizations, including Apeksha Hospital, were in need of regular blood supply during the past period. The director added that any person can visit to the National Blood Centre or nearest blood bank or the hospital to donate blood anytime.
Well, that's another news. Do enjoy the rest of the programs. Take care and good night.
Good night.